everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are building in the world of I think it's Moonwood Mills. It's from the Werewolf pack. This is actually the first time I played with this pack in my game. I didn't buy the Werewolf pack when it first came out. I think I bought it like last month. And to be honest, I really just bought it for the build items, and I wanted to build a little bit of a different type of build. But I ended up playing with it because I did make a sim and to go with the house and the storyline I had for this build. Um, but yeah, I played with it for a couple hours and it was fun. I do like the pack and I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of like storyline to go along with and like it's a fun pack, but I don't really play with occults too often. I like occults. I watch a lot of movies with occults and stuff in it. Like I have nothing against them. It's just when it comes to like The Sims, I don't play with them very often because I do kind of like more of a realistic type of gameplay. And I do kind of like family gameplay and stuff when I'm playing by on my own or whatever, and I'm not like not on here. But but yeah, I did want to get it, like I said, for the build items, and I did want to try out the gameplay, and I had fun with it. And it was fun for like the storyline I was going with, but yeah, I don't know how often I'm actually gonna play with the werewolves. And I've seen other people who have played like other storylines like I watch other people that play The Sims and they do like gameplay instead of building. And I've noticed that they said that werewolves can get kind of annoying because you kind of like see them running all over the different worlds and like raging and stuff. So I'm kind of afraid that's gonna happen when I'm trying to play. Although I don't play very often, like I mostly just build. But I don't know. I guess we'll see how annoying that actually gets. But yeah, as you can see, the build was pretty much put together already. Like I said, I've said in previous videos, and I'll probably keep saying, I end up just kind of putting the structure together before I start filming because it's like the most difficult part for me, and trying to have the build actually come together, and building it and dividing the rooms and figuring out what room I want where and all that kind of stuff. Like that usually takes me the longest. And I figured I don't want to make you guys like sit through all that. It would be a lot of like editing and cutting out and stuff like that. So I figured once I have the structure built and I know like the plan and how I want it to look, then I'll just like do the wallpaper and like all the decorations and the landscaping, and it'll all come together, in the video. But I don't know if you guys ever want me to just do like the whole thing, just let me know. I can just like cut it down and put like me putting building it in it too. I just figure like that would make the video even longer, and I don't want to make you guys sit through that. But yeah, anyway, so here you can see I used mostly every item from the werewolf pack that I possibly could. So like all the wallpaper, the windows, the doors, all of that's like from the werewolf pack. Most like a lot of the landscaping stuff, some of the landscaping stuff, and like that car thing outside was from the werewolf pack. So I tried to use everything I possibly could because I kind of wanted to be like on point with the theme of this build. And it was very, like I said, I'm in Wormwood Mills, and like my storyline kind of goes with like werewolves. So yeah, I just tried to use everything because I really wanted to see what came with this pack too, like build wise. So for my benefit, I wanted to try to use all the items too, so I knew like what came with it and if it was worth buying, which it was. I do like a lot of the items, and I think it's really cool. And it just the build is very not your typical like residential lot. It's very run down. It's very grungy. It's gotten dirty, but that's kind of where I was going with the storyline, and all the items kind of like fit that type of build, so it was kind of perfect. So for that reason, I really do love these build items. Maybe they're not your typical ones you would use in your family homes, but for this kind of build, it was perfect. So yeah, as you saw on the outside, it was just kind of, I put a lot of grass. I put that car on the side of the house, and I put a bunch of plants in it to make it look overgrown. So that's really on the outside. I'll do a couple little bit more things. I'll jump around, you'll see. But here we're moving on to the living room. It's not a big house. I mean, it's not a tiny house, but there's like one bedroom upstairs with a bathroom attached, and then there's like, it's not an office. Like I end up using that conspiracy listening device table from Strangerville. I put that in the room, but technically you could make that a second bedroom or an office or whatever you want to use it for. So you could make this a 2-bedroom house if you really want to. I just didn't personally for my storyline. But yeah, the house is big enough, and then there's just like a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom downstairs, and then that garage on the side. You'll see I just put like a woodworking table and the juice fizz machine and stuff in there. So, I mean, I guess technically if you really want, you could make that a bedroom. It's up to you if you want to change this, but with the storyline I was going with in my head, it was like a 1-bedroom house because I only have one sim living here. And the storyline that I had in mind, what I created was, so I created a sim, and he's a little bit, like I gave him the paranoid trait, and he's a little bit like of a conspiracy theorist, and he's heard from people that like there's this town called Moonwood Mills. I don't know why I can't say that. um, and people have been going around town saying that werewolves live there. And he's like, no way, I don't believe it. Like, there's no way there's werewolves. So he decides to move to this town and prove everybody wrong that there is no such thing as werewolves living here. I mean, he believes in werewolves. He's like one of those crazy, like, conspiracy type of like Sims in my mind, but he's like, there's no way, I'm gonna prove them wrong, or if there really is werewolves here, I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna expose them. Like, he's one of those, kind of like a Bigfoot. Like, you ever watch those Bigfoot shows where they're like, we found Bigfoot? Don't worry, I love Bigfoot. I'm just saying it's like that's kind of where I was going with in my head. But yeah, so I had my sim like that's the storyline. Like, he moved here to either prove them wrong or to find out if werewolves do exist. So I had my sim go to like the local bar and start asking questions and like, oh, are there really werewolves here? And, just trying to get all the information he possibly can. And, some of the locals were, like, very tight-lipped. Like, they wouldn't even, like tell him anything. And then others were like, no, there's no werewolves here. Like, don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, he talks to the bartender, and the bartender's like, no, there's absolutely werewolves here. Like, you need to be careful. You can't go around running your mouth. Of course, the Sims don't actually say all this, but it's kind of like how I had it like in my head, and like he does talk to them and they do mention werewolves, but like I'm just kind of like BSing some of it, like how I want, like how I think the story went. But anyway, yeah, so the bartender's like, yeah, and they're like, beware of Greg, and he's like, beware of Greg, who's Greg? And they're like, just don't go out to his house, don't even go looking for him. And obviously, if you tell somebody beware of this or whatever, they're gonna go looking. So my sim ends up going like and finding Greg's house, and he's like looking around, and of course Greg isn't there, and he just tries to find any like information on who the heck Greg is, but he hasn't found anything, so he goes. It's late, like, because I didn't realize like that when I was playing it was like so late at night, so I had my sim go home, and then the next day he came back to where Greg lives, and there's like that sign there that says like beware or whatever, do not enter, I forget. And like I said, I played with this the first time. I didn't realize, so I had my sim read that sign, and then all of a sudden Greg popped out of the woods. So of course, like the storyline, I was like, oh my god, my sim's like, that's Greg, like, and he's a werewolf. So of course, my sim's like, werewolves do exist. So my sim like goes and he tries to like talk to Greg and like, try to like find out like how werewolves exist and like anything he can find out, but it turns out like it goes terribly wrong, and they end up getting in a fight, and Greg wins, and he bites or scratches my sim. I don't remember how they turn, but he gets bit or scratched, and my sim's like, oh no, and he runs home, and he's like, I don't know what happened, and then as the days go on, like he starts turning, and I didn't realize like how the turn, because like I said, this is the first time I played. But yeah, he starts turning and like they get really, really hungry. And I didn't know that like that the hunger goes down that fast, because when I was playing, my sim got so hungry that I couldn't get him to the fridge fast enough, and I didn't have food in his inventory. He ended up dying from hunger, and I was so mad, so I had to like cancel out and like go back in and replay it for a little bit and go back to him changing. But then I was like, okay, I need to make sure he has food in his inventory. So yeah, so he starts changing, and he gets like super hungry and he gets super angry and stuff like that, and then eventually he turns into a werewolf himself. So he's like, oh, it's like, oh my God, I'm a werewolf now. They do exist and I am one of them. So that's kind of like the storyline I went with. Like, he came here, like, either trying to prove it wrong or, like, whatever it was, but then it ends up he turns into a werewolf himself. So that's kind of like where I went with the storyline. That's kind of like how I wanted this build to go. That's what I had in my head as I was building this. Because I built this before I created the sim, but I knew where I wanted to go with where I wanted to go with the story as I was building this, so it really helped. So yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of like where I went with this. I hope you like my story, and if you want to do the same thing, if you want to download this build and create a sim and kind of play that way, you can, or you could do whatever you want. But that's just kind of like the idea I had in my head for this build, and the sim I had in my mind, and the storyline I went with it. I just thought it was fun, and like I said, the sim isn't like the cleanest. Like, you'll see, I end up adding a lot of those scratches and I figured this build like this house was already like a rundown, like nobody's lived in this home for a while, like it's all like kind of falling apart. So you'll see I put like a lot of rips and stains and all that kind of stuff on the walls and scratches and stuff. So I figured this sim like just bought this house because he doesn't care. Like, he's just coming here to figure out if werewolves are real or not. He doesn't really like he doesn't care how he lives. Like, he kind of just lives like this. Like, he's kind of dirty and like grungy and like, you know what I mean? So he already bought a house that's run down. He doesn't really need like a nice house. Upstairs, I did give him a little bit of a nicer bedroom and bathroom, so maybe he kind of just fixed up the upstairs for himself because that's where he spends most of his time. But the downstairs, like here in the kitchen, I made it like I used the counters and the stove and all that kind of stuff from the city living pack, I think it is, like from the apartments, where they're all like run down and like scratched and used and stuff like that, because I felt like that's where it was going. So yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking, like, the sim, like, just bought this house already run down, and he just doesn't care, and he doesn't keep it clean. Like, you'll see I put, like, stains and spider webs all over the walls and stuff like that. Like he's not big on, like, cleanliness. So that's why this house is kind of, like, dirty and grungy and like, kind of like that, because he bought it this way and then didn't really try much to make it any cleaner or fix it up or anything. So yeah, that's just kind of like why this house looks that way. And as I said, I talked right over the living room, but I used those little seats from the werewolf pack that have like the patches and like the rips on them and stuff. I love those. I think those are actually really cute. I mean, you don't use them for most of your builds, but I don't know, I love those type of couches. So I just used that and like the ripped rugs and like those tables. You could probably see it right through there, but when I was doing the living room, I actually used the tables and the end table from the Halloween pack that have like the ripped tablecloth, and I just thought those were really, like, they fit perfectly with this type of build, so I wanted to use those because they were all like ripped and stuff. And then like in the kitchen, you saw the dining room table, I used the one with like the book underneath and stuff, so I just kind of used like furniture that would look like it was kind of like falling apart, sort of, because like I said, he probably just came with the house and he didn't care. Like here in the bathroom, I use like the sink and the toilet that are just like that old wooden, like kind of like put together, like somebody built it themselves type of thing. So I just use that because like I said, I figured downstairs he just didn't care. He just kind of left like the plumbing and the furniture and everything the way it was, because to him it didn't matter. I did give him a shower down here, and then upstairs there's a nicer tub. So like I said, the bathroom upstairs, I made it a little nicer. But yeah, here you'll see I'm adding all the scratches and the dirt to the wall, and just to make it look, and like the cracks in the wall and stuff, to make it look a little bit more like run down and a little bit more used. And like I said, like a house that was already falling apart that he just kind of like purchased, and like he just kind of like moved in and it was like that already. But yeah, and then by the front door, I did all those like little clutters, and I did like a bunch of like the stuff from the werewolf pack, like on that wooden shelving unit. I did like the broken plates or whatever those were, and like a skull and stuff, because I figured like maybe after the whole finding out werewolves are real and he turned into a werewolf, that he went around and he collected like all the collectibles, and he takes all the werewolf books he could find and stuff, because he's doing all the research he can to find out about werewolves now that he is one. He wants to know how to live like one. So I figured that's where all the clutter and the books and stuff like that come from, because that's like the storyline to continue after he turns, that he's like now he's a werewolf researcher, and he wants to know like how werewolves became and like what he needs to do, and maybe he's trying to figure out how can I change back into a human. Like maybe you could go with that storyline. But yeah, so that's just kind of where I was going with it. And then now we're moving on to the upstairs. Like I said, this is his bedroom, my Sim's bedroom. I only did one bedroom. But like I said, the other room you can always change into a bedroom if you wanted to. But I only made this one bedroom here, and then next door is the bathroom. It's attached to the bedroom, so if you do end up making that other room upstairs into whatever you want, you might have to move the door out into the hallway, unless you don't mind them walking through that room to get to the bathroom. It's up to you. But yeah, I just did like a simple bedroom. I honestly forgot that when I put this build together, that I built a little balcony out the back, like over the back deck upstairs, that's like attached to the bedroom. And I was kind of like, oh no, once I put the bedroom together, I really really liked the way it came out. So I was like, I forgot about the balcony. So I ended up just like sticking a door, but you'll notice it's behind that like those trunks and stuff that are right there. And then the balcony, I just stuck a bunch of like broken furniture and trash and junk and stuff out there. So I figured like it's not a usable balcony. Like he just kind of threw all the crap out there and then like blocked the door off so you can't get to it. So that's kind of where I went with that, because I totally forgot about that balcony out there. But yeah, this is just the like landing area by the stairs. I added those bookshelves from the werewolf pack. I actually like those wooden bookshelves. I know they're a little bit more rundown looking, but they're kind of cool, and I just like the way they look. So I added that, and then I added the spider webs on top of it to just make it look a little bit more dirtier and like not clean. He doesn't keep it clean, and he doesn't clean the cobwebs or anything. So I don't know. I just thought those were cool. And then yeah, like the bedroom, I made it pretty simple. It's just like the single bed. I put it at an angle because I thought that was kind of cool. Like it was a little different, because I usually do the beds like against the wall and stuff like that. Like a typical like bedroom. But I just wanted it to look different this time, so that's why I wanted it at an angle. I just thought it looked kind of cool. And then yeah, I just kind of cluttered it up a bit. Like I didn't go crazy with the clutter. I added some stuff from the Everyday Clutter Kit because, as I've said in previous builds, and I'll just keep saying, I use like almost every item in every build that I've done so far. And yeah, I know they came out with the bathroom clutter stuff. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I think I'm filming this. It's like the 20th of January, but I don't know if it came out yesterday, today, or like if I'm way behind. But I knew it was coming out like this week. But I ended up buying it today. I never was a kit person. Like I didn't like the kits, but I did kind of think they were a waste of money in the beginning. But after I got the Everyday Clutter Kit, I was like, okay, this one was worth it. So when I saw the bathroom clutter kit coming out, I was kind of excited, and I knew I was going to buy it. But I will be honest with everybody else. I do believe that but they should have just included it with the Everyday Clutter Kit. Like, I don't know why they had to split that and a bathroom clutter kit. It does seem kind of like a money grabbing scheme. But it's Sims, and they charge us for a lot of stuff that could either be base game or it could just be one whole, like it could have been a stuff pack. Like people have said, what happened to stuff packs? Like they're splitting up all this stuff that would have been in one, and they're putting it in different kits. So I understand when people are saying like, wow, they're just trying to get money out of us. Yeah, no, I could see that. But then again, I'll be honest, I use all of the items, and yes, I play on the PC, and I could use CC items instead of buying all this stuff, but I don't like for my YouTube and from the gallery, I don't want to use CC items. Like, I don't want to have to link every item that I've used and make people go find it and download it, and then, a lot of people don't want to clutter up their game, or a lot of people don't play with CC, so, I don't typically, like, in my personal builds, yes, I use CC, but, like, on here, I don't want to use it, so I do like having these items, so when I build stuff for the gallery and for my YouTube and stuff, that I could just use it and it'll be game friendly and people can just download the build right off the gallery and be done. Um, but yeah, so I did get the bathroom clutter kit and I will use every item. I know I will. Um, but I do agree with people that it's a little ridiculous that they split it up and that it could have just been one big thing. But it is what it is, and um, yeah. So I bit the bullet and I got it. But yeah, whatever. So we're now in the little office area, I guess, like I said, and I added that little listening device table from Stranger Things, like I said, because I figured like I said, my sim, I made him paranoid and he's like a conspiracy theorist. So I put that in here, and then as you'll see, I put like a bunch of posters from Strangerville, like with all these like cute little like are aliens real and the Loch Ness monster type of things. I just thought those were really cute, so I put those in there. But as I said, you can change this to another bedroom or a regular office, whatever you want to do. But I had to put like this little room with the ladder in it because the ladder, every time I put one in, it changes the lighting of the rooms. It makes it like a weird like color from the outside. I honestly don't know why, but it does it all the time. So I had to give it its own little room so it didn't change the lighting. But it's functional. You can get up there. It's no big deal. So yeah, I just attached that. So maybe you could, like, if you don't want this, you could just add the door to the bathroom in there if you make that a second bedroom. It's up to you. And then up here, I did like a little seating area with like the couches from the Werewolf pack. And then, like I said, this is the telescope. It's actually not functional because technically it's inside the build, so it has to be outside to be functional, which I didn't realize. But for the purpose of this build and the theme I was going with, I wanted it up there because I wanted it to look like he's spying on the neighborhood and like he's like watching constantly, and if anybody comes near his property, like he's looking for them. So that's why I put it up there, but you can always move it downstairs or outside or whatever if you want to use it. That's up to you. And then I found these really cool lights, but they're unfortunately debug, so they don't actually light up, which was that kind of like annoyed me. But then I put those little tiny lanterns next to them, which made them look like they're lit up. So I just thought like that worked perfectly, and they're like those big like those big lights that like those spotlights. And I thought it was perfect because like maybe if somebody's coming up to his property or something, he's like shines the lights on them and he's like, get off my property. So I just thought those fit the build like perfectly, and I just really really liked them and I wanted to use them, but I wanted them to look like they were lit. So that's why I put those little lanterns around them to make it look that way. And then yeah, I just added like the little fire pit from the Werewolf pack. I added it down there. I don't know if I play tested it, but I don't think it's a fire hazard because usually you can like upstairs I put the fireplace on the top part with a rug and that's usually okay. But it may be a fire hazard down there with all the grass. I'm not so sure. But I just thought it was cool and I thought it fit the build. So if you don't want to actually light it then and catch your Sims on fire, then maybe don't light it. But yeah, I just did that, and then I moved the punching bag up to the deck, and then I just put one of those cool little grills that look like that industrial type of like what do you call it? I don't know. It's like the tub, not a tub, waste, like the waste trash can. I don't know. It was like that type of grill with like the metal grate on top. I just thought that was kind of cool, so it fit the build. And then yeah, up here like I just added like a rug, and then here I'm adding fireworks next to it, but I was thinking like cuz I couldn't think of anything else to put over there, but I'm like maybe if people come up to his property, like he shoots fireworks at them to like get away from his house cuz he's a little like crazy and a little paranoid. So I just thought the fireworks are kind of cool to put up there as like a just like a little nod to like how like paranoid he is, like that's his weapon against people coming to his trespassing on his property. He shoots fireworks from the top to scare people away. But yeah, that was just it. It was just kind of like a cute little thing up top just to like, have his lookout, like as like a little lookout spot. And I knew that from this build, that's what I wanted. Definitely is like a lookout area. So I knew the roof was going to look like that from the beginning. But that's about all I knew that I was going to build before I started actually building. So that's kind of where the idea came from, and then I went with the storyline and I just ran with the rest of the build. So yeah, but now we're just moving on to the garage. Like I said, I just added a woodworking table, and then I added that juice fizz machine because I think maybe like in the kitchen you'll see I put that like secret door where it's like do not enter and stuff like that. So I figured like maybe it was like, he's secretly making like special juice fizz that he's not supposed to be making or selling. So like he has like the door locked down and like the camera over it to make sure nobody enters, sort of thing. So I just kind of made it like that, like he's doing something secretly he shouldn't be doing in that garage. And like I said, he's just a very paranoid sim I made him. So that's kind of where I was going with that door and like the camera, and I was making it all secretive, and I just thought it was kind of like fun to go with a theme. And then I just added those cute little clutter things. Like I like that little fish. I know people don't really like that, but that little like fishing with the pictures and stuff from the Everyday Clutter Kit, I've used that a couple times already, and I just think it's a cute little thing for certain builds. It's just a cute item, so I added that in there because I figured maybe like he fishes and stuff too. But yeah, that was really it for the inside. And then outside, I added some of these like moss, and I add a lot of vines because I don't know, it just seemed so. I just see the wallpaper is like cool and everything is all like old and run down, but it just seems like too much. I needed to break it up a bit, so I thought like I would add some of this green moss to like look overgrown and add to like the dirty and the grungy dungeony I don't know type of look. So I put that in there and some vines from the vampire pack just to make it look a little bit more run down. And then here, like I said, I just added the door behind the trunks in the bedroom, but it's not functional. You can't get out here. So I figured like he just put a bunch of like wood pile and old broken furniture and like just a bunch of garbage and junk that he just threw out here, and then he just like blocked the door off and left it. Like that's what I made this balcony because I like I said, I forgot about this balcony that I had it here. So that's just how I went with it. And I just put like a bunch of garbage and just dirty, and I just made it look gross. But yeah, that's it for the build. So if you guys like this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
This time of the year, I can't stop asking why I'm struggling to stay. It's a mystery why I'm here. I guess I'm just too tired of fighting.